Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 128 based on novel. So let's start. With the conclusion of the gathering of the three young and old, many disciples of the Funxiang Pavilion joined the fight for teammates. Undoubtedly, if you want to get a lot of rankings and rewards in this team competition, the strength of one person is important, but if the strength of a team is equally strong, then it is more secure for this strange team competition. The Burning Incense Pavilion is the most lively today, with huge crowds, and the scene is extremely spectacular. Xiao Yan and the others left Fen Tianyu and came to the registration office for the team competition, and suddenly felt that they had made a mistake. Originally thought that there were very few people here, but when they came here, the registration office was already surrounded by water, and the queue of thousands of people made people feel a sense of relief at first glance. The 5 people slowly came to the last place. As for the last Lingxian, the slender eyelashes kept stirring, as if thinking about something. Hey, have you heard of it? What? In front of Xiao Yang and the others, a disciple of the Earth Palace spoke slowly. The senior brothers in our Earth Temple have retreated, so now the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th senior brothers form the strongest team. With the withdrawal of the Heavenly Temple, I think the first place in this team competition will definitely be the best. It's theirs. 2nd senior brother, 5th senior brother. Isn't this only 4 people? The others in the team couldn't help asking. I don't know, but the strength of these 4 people is so terrifying, I'm afraid the strength of the last person will not be too weak. And do you know the rules of this game? The leader said. Competition rules? Isn't that the only way to know if you have received the team card? The people who spoke were obviously a team, and they asked one question and one answer. However, the people next to them were quiet, because at this time, most of what the 5 people said about them were news that other teams didn't know, so they all quieted down and listened. This time the team cards have 3 types: blue, yellow, and red. It is said that the task of the team that got the blue team card seems to be to something. Anyway, there are various tasks, but the risk factor is extremely small. This is only the choice of some powerful 5-star fighting emperors in the early stage. As for some teams that are stronger than the 5-star fighting emperor in the middle and late stages, they choose the yellow team card. The task on the yellow team card is more difficult. It is to take away the prescribed things from certain places. Although those people did not specify it, it is known from their ugly faces that the task is not so simple. The leader continued. Kept saying. What about the last red team card? If it's red, they do a good job of keeping secrets, I don't know about that. But our team, just get the yellow team card. The team kept saying. Lingxian, do you know the content of this team competition? Xiao Yang couldn't help but said to Lingxian at the back. Humph. Now you know you've come to beg me. Even if you beg me, I won't tell you. Lingxian said angrily. Obviously this Xiao Yang didn't know that she was the little witch of the Earth Palace, the daughter of the palace master of the Earth Palace. Treat yourself extremely badly. Hearing this, Xiao Yang scratched his head immediately. What are these pig teammates? Xiao Yang seems to be able to figure out how the pig teammates are dragging their feet. I think this team competition should have several stages, and you will know after you receive the team card. Mu Yingying said. As Mu Yingying opened her mouth, Lingshuan's pupils shrank slightly. Lingxian believed that her appearance was extraordinary, but after seeing Mu Yingying, Lingxian realized that there are people outside people, and there are heavens. If Lingxian is the kind of squeamish flower, then the first impression Mu Yingying gave to Lingxian was the kind of snowflake that had never bloomed in 10,000 years, but once it bloomed, the light and charm it released was unparalleled. Damn, there are so many people, I don't know if the queue will be until the year of the monkey. Mu Feng looked at him slightly, and then complained. There are thousands of people in this team. With such a huge crowd, I am afraid that there will be no time to complete the registration in a few days. After Mu Feng finished speaking, several people shook their heads. After all, this is a sect. If you do something like jumping in the queue, you will inevitably feel hurt. I have a solution. It seemed that she realized that the other 4 people in her team had nothing to do, and then Lingxian's beautiful eyes moved slightly, and she said something unwilling to be outdone. What can I do? Xiao Yang seemed to have vaguely guessed what Lingxian was thinking at the moment when Lingxian spoke, and asked. Why are you asking so many questions? Just follow me. Lingxian made a grimace at Xiao Yang, then jumped straight away from the long queue and walked towards the front. What is she doing? Cut in line? Seeing this, Mu Feng couldn't help but have black lines all over his head. There are thousands of disciples here. Is this action against them all? Hey, this seems to be feasible. Xiao Yang didn't follow up immediately, and stared at Ling Xian. But within a few breaths, Xiao Yang discovered that every time Ling Xian took a step forward, he greeted the disciples in the queue, and the disciples in the queue responded enthusiastically. Let's go. Xiao Yang said slowly. Just after speaking, the group of 4 left the team and walked forward. Hey, how can this classmate jump in the queue? The hall master often teaches us that we can't be human. Xiao Yang and the others just walked a few steps when a dissatisfied voice suddenly came. Humph. Have you forgotten who I am? Just as Xiao Yu was about to start, Na Ling Xian groaned. It turned out to be senior sister Ling Xuan's team. You guys please. Before the disciple met this beautiful figure, she was so frightened that she was sweating profusely. Because this Ling Xian is the daughter of the hall master of the Earth Palace, her strength and talent are considered outstanding in the entire Burning Incense Pavilion. So many brothers and sisters are polite to her. If this is the case, Ling Xuan's strength and talent are mediocre, so you don't need to be so politely. Ling Xuan's talent is too terrifying, and she has reached the level of the middle stage of the 6-star Do Emperor at a young age. You must know that the number of disciples in the entire hall with the strength of the 6-star Do Emperor may not have changed the number of hands, not to mention that this Ling Xuan's strength is still in the middle stage of the 6-star Do Emperor. Let's go, follow me, Ling Xian confidently said to the 4 people behind her, and walked in swaggeringly. Ha ha ha, look at the good daughter you taught. A loud laugh came directly from a house. This house is not unfamiliar, it is the place where Zhu Laro lives. At this time, Elder Zhu and the hall master of the Di Palace were slowly staring at a crystal ball in front of them, in which Ling Xian's actions were fully visible. Old man, it's none of my business. The palace master of the Earth Palace hurriedly said, how could he have thought that his daughter would come out like this? Because his daughter did this, it was undoubtedly a slap in the face, but he often taught his disciples how to do it. Okay, since the matter has come here, let's prepare to go to that space. After all, with so many disciples, it would be no fun to be entered by other powerhouses without us. Elder Zhu suddenly said solemnly. Let's go. But I also want to see how much my daughter can grow after this time. After finishing speaking, Old Man and Zhu disappeared into the house in an instant. The next team. A voice slowly came from within the gentle house. You guys, go in. Outside the door, some senior brothers who were in charge of vigilance said to Xiao Yang and the others. Xiao Yang's brows moved slightly one by one, and he found that the figure in charge of vigilance here is extremely powerful. Even Xiao Yang's late 6-star Do Emperor could not see through it. Let's go. Xiao Yang and the others came directly from the back of the team to the front, and all this was thanks to Ling Xian. If it wasn't for Ling Xuan's relationship with these senior brothers, I'm afraid I'd have to waste a lot of time here. Squeak. With a sound, Xiao Yang and the others entered the house, slowly closed the door, and then took a few steps forward. At this time, in the room, there was only a middle-aged man holding a paintbrush looking at Xiao Yang and the others. The middle-aged man is in good spirits, making people feel in high spirits at first glance. Come here, some junior brothers. The figure with the brush in his hand said. He in a hurry. Several people moved towards each other slowly. Report to me the names of the halls where the 5 of you are, your own names, and your strength for registration. The middle-aged man slowly raised his hand holding the paintbrush and looked at several people. I don't know why, the first time this middle-aged man saw Xiao Yang, it was as if something had loosened in his heart, which was very strange. This kid seems to have some secrets. The middle-aged man said slowly. I'll come first. The next moment, the green flute said first. Yes. The rest of Xiao Yang also nodded their heads one after another. Obviously, the sequence had nothing to do with it. This person's aura is extremely strange, even a bit like the poisonous fighting spirit of the Medusa clan. Ling Xian stood aside, carefully discerning the strength of the green flute. Since she decided to join the team, Ling Xian had to be serious. According to Ling Xuan's estimation, although this green flute has an extremely enchanting figure, looking at her aura, it seems that she is only around the early stage of a 5-star fighting emperor. The green flute, from the Hall of People. The green flute said slowly, the voice was extremely gentle and did not carry any energy. Green flute just started talking, the middle-aged man wrote like a genius, and drew directly on the white paper in front of him. What about strength? The middle-aged man said immediately after seeing the green flute pause slightly. In terms of strength, the late 5-star Do Emperor. Green flute said with a smile. 5-star Do Emperor late stage? Green flute's words just fell, and Ling Xian said incredulously. The aura on this green flute is far less terrifying, How could it possess the terrifying strength of the late 5-star Do Emperor? Inject your vindictive energy into this. The middle-aged man stopped the paintbrush in his hand, then took out a prismatic crystal and said to the green flute. Hearing the words, Green Flute snorted lightly, and then the Do Chi in his body burst out to him. It's true. After some twists and turns, the middle-aged man also determined the strength of the green flute, and registered its information to create the next one. I'll come. Mu Feng said slowly. Xiao Yang and the others nodded when they heard the words. Mu Feng, from the Hall of People, the late 5-star fighting emperor. Mu Feng said with a smile. Another 5-star Do Emperor late stage? Now it was the middle-aged man's turn to be surprised. He has been registered here for decades, but he has never encountered such a situation. In the past, although there were more than 10 disciples in the Hall of Humanity, without exception, their strength was mediocre. The strength of the strongest was at the level of the 5-star Do Emperor in the later stage of the 5-star Do Emperor. The existence of this time, 2 disciples of the late 5-star Do Emperor appeared directly in the team competition hall this time, but the heart caused a lot of surprise to the registered man. Okay, next one. The middle-aged man suppressed his surprise and said after registering Mu Feng. How could the strength of this man's palace suddenly become so tyrannical? Ling Xian frowned and said slowly. As the daughter of the palace master, I often heard her father say how the human palace was, so I knew all too well about the human palace. I'll do it. Mu Yingying smiled, then said to the middle-aged man. Mu Yingying, from the Hall of Humans, is a 6-star Do Emperor early stage. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, a white energy in her body slowly left her. This is the power of life. And this life force has reached the level of 8th rank. The next moment, the man in charge of registration suddenly exclaimed, and stood up suddenly from the sitting state. What? The power of 8th rank students? The next moment, not to mention the man in charge of registration was restless, even Ling Xian became restless. The power of 8th rank students, this is the real killer. After passing through the 6-star Do Di life calamity, the power of birth will be born in the body. The power of birth is the same as the fighting chi, but it is undoubtedly more powerful than the ordinary fighting chi. Moreover, once the power of 8th rank students fights against people, the various benefits will be revealed. If a powerhouse in the early stage of the 6-star Do Di had the power of being born at the 8th rank, then even against a powerhouse who only had the power of a 6th rank student in the later stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, he would have a chance to fight. Force. This is the various advantages between the 9th grades of the power of life. How could it be the power of 8th rank students? Ling Xianwei couldn't believe it, because the power of life in her body, even with her father, was only of the 7th rank. However, even the strength of a 7th rank student is enough to lead many of his peers. Sit down. After a brief period of surprise, the registered man found that he had lost his temper, and immediately spoke slowly. It seems that there are some terrifying guys in this man's palace this time. This matter must be reported as soon as possible. The registered man said slowly in his heart. Next. The middle-aged man said slowly. Ling Xian, from the Hall of Earth, the middle stage of the 6-star Do Di. Ling Xian's voice was still mixed with a lot of shock. The Lord of the Earth Palace is actually willing to send his precious daughter out this time. The registered man was naturally aware of the powerful relationship, so he registered quickly. Okay, the last one. After registering the information of the 4, he looked at the guy with a heavy weight among the 5. Although I don't know the strength of this guy, but the registered man feels that this person is definitely not simple. Xiao Yang, from the Hall of People. In terms of strength in the late stage of the 6-star Do Di. Xiao Yang said calmly, as if he was telling a simple matter. The late 6-star Do Di? Ling Xian heard the words, her lips biting slightly, obviously extremely unbelievable. Ling Xian believed that she was talented, but when Xiao Yang entered the Funxiang Pavilion, Xiao Yang was only the strength of a 4-star Do Emperor, but Ling Xuan's strength had reached that of a 5-star Do Emperor at that time. In just 5 years, how could Xiao Yang have thrown her, the arrogant son of the world, so far? Even if Ling Xian was killed, Ling Xian couldn't believe it. The late 6-star Do Di? The registered man hesitated in disbelief. The next moment, Xiao Yang couldn't even speak in his head, his whole body moved, and he went directly to the prismatic crystal that sensed power on the man's palm. Bang bang bang. The next moment, Xiao Yang's power made that solid prismatic crystal explode instantly. I'm afraid the situation of this kid can't be determined, so I can only report it. The registration man gritted his teeth and immediately registered the information of the 5 people. This power has really reached the level of the late 6-star Do Emperor. But why didn't he feel any vitality in him? Ling Xian naturally knew that the power enough to make the prismatic crystal explode can only reach the level of the 6-star Do Emperor. At the later stage, it was only strange that Xiao Yang did not have any vitality in his body. Anyone who has passed through the 6-star Do D tribulation will have the power of birthborn in his body. What is going on with this Xiao Yang? Ling Xian couldn't help but become more interested in Xiao Yang. Okay, the information of the 5 of you has been registered, and the next step is to select your level for this mission. The next moment, the registered man suppressed all the shock and doubts in his heart and said to the 5 people, "Choose the task level?" Mu Feng asked in confusion when he heard the words. "Yes, here is only responsible for registering your strength, leaving a trace of your breath, so that you can judge your life and death situation. If there is a dangerous situation, the strong people in our burning incense pavilion will come to the rescue. As for the task level of the team competition, it is divided into cyan simple level, yellow difficult level, and red nightmare level." The man said slowly. "Is there any difference between these 3 levels?" Mu Feng asked. The tasks obtained at the cyan simple level are relatively simple, and the rewards that can be obtained are relatively general. The tasks of the yellow difficulty level are relatively difficult, which requires a lot of team cooperation, and the generous rewards have made almost all participating teams choose here. As for the red nightmare rank, it's basically impossible tasks. The man said slowly. "How can we go if we can't complete the mission?" Mu Feng said as if he knew something. "Hihi, the motto of our burning incense pavilion is to create miracles, and that's why we have the most difficult task. But I forgot to tell you that for this red nightmare level quest, you can take all the things you get in it. As for the other things you get from the cyan simple level and the yellow hard level, you must hand in all the things." The man said. "What should I do now?" Mu Feng heard the words, and immediately turned his head to face several people. "I think we still choose the red nightmare level." Xiao Yang said slightly. "Since the elders will start this kind of task competition, it is not impossible to complete the task, but the relative cost of completing it is too huge or too difficult. And since the few of us came out of the desert mountain range, our strength has been improved to a certain extent. Next, it is better to control this skyrocketing strength, otherwise it will affect future cultivation." Xiao Yang analyzed. This statement is reasonable. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, the 3 people next to him said slowly, "What do you think?" The next moment, Xiao Yang said to Ling Xian, "I'll listen to you." Ling Xian was still immersed in Xiao Yang's late-stage strength of the 6-star Do Emperor and the shock that Mu Yingying actually had the power of an 8th-rank student, so she said casually, "Then it's a red nightmare." Xiao Yang glanced at the 4 of them, and then smiled slowly at the registered man. "Red nightmare level. Courageous." The man smiled slowly, but there was a little chill in that smile. "Now that it's decided, who is your captain?" the man said. "Xiao Yang." The next moment, the 3 next to him said in unison, "Take it, this is your task for this team competition." After the man finished speaking, he took the red scroll of attendance directly from his arms. The red scroll looks very strange, and there is a wooden token in the red scroll, but I don't know what it is used for. Go back. As for what your mission this time is, it's better to go back and see, otherwise, once it is leaked, it will not be good for you. After the man finished speaking, he issued an expulsion order. "Let's go." Xiao Yang slowly put away the red scroll and wooden token in his palm, left here directly, and led the 4 of them towards Wuzhuju. What kind of mission is this, and it's so mysterious? The 5 of them had just returned to the Wuzhu residence, and they suddenly became curious on the stone table. "Open it and take a look." Seeing that people around him were constantly curious, Xiao Yang also said with sense. The next moment, the 5 people slowly surrounded the red scroll, and then Xiao Yang's mind moved, and a huge soul force instantly emerged, attacking the red scroll. Boom boom boom. The red scroll had just been attacked by Xiao Yang's enormous soul power, and it suddenly trembled. "Intensify your efforts." Xiao Yang saw that such a huge soul force didn't react at all to the red scroll, and immediately mobilized a huge amount of power. Finally, with Xiao Yang's continuous efforts, within a few breaths of time, the red scroll slowly spread out, and an aura that the 5 people could not resist spread instantly. But very clear words. Nightmare level task. 5 extremely bright red words attracted the attention of Xiao Yang and the 5, and immediately below the 5 bright red words, there was a row of small words. Go to Luoling Mountain and defeat the 5 elements beasts. Just a few words, but it exploded in Ling Xian's heart like a thunder. "What's wrong with you?" Xiao Yang asked with quick eyes and quick hands, directly supporting Ling Xian who was about to fall. Do you know what the 5 elements beasts are? Ling Xian's face was pale, and she spoke slowly. Ads by Pub Future. I don't know. All 4 shook their heads, obviously puzzled by this kind of thing. 5-element beasts are terrifying beasts that absorb 5 attributes. If you are the Do-D of the fire attribute and slowly face the 5 elements beasts, and the 5 elements beasts also use the fire attribute power, then your fire attribute power will not be able to move even the fur of the 5 elements beast. In other words, these 5-element beasts are almost invincible. With the 5 of us alone, we can't beat it. If we don't take up this task, we won't be able to complete it at all, Ling Xian said angrily. 5-element beast, I vaguely remember that the body of the 5-element beast is full of treasures. If you get the body of the 5-element beast, you can't say that your ancestor will have a chance to resurrect. The next moment, Xiao Yang's heart rock slowly opened his mouth. The body of the 5-element beast. Xiao Yang was a little surprised. According to what you said, your ancestors relied on suppressing the 3 strange fires in the body before, and finally detonated the 3 strange fires and blew themselves up, so generally the human body cannot satisfy his last trace of strength. That 5-element beast contains the power of the 5 elements in its body, and its body is also refined into steel. It is the last material for you to resurrect your ancestors, Xinyan said. When Xiao Yang heard this, he thought for a moment. He was able to achieve today's achievements without the help of his ancestor Xiao Xian, and he also promised his ancestor to resurrect him. Now the holy flame and medicinal pills are ready, and the only thing left is to accommodate the new body. As of now, that's the only way. I hope the ancestors of Xiao Xian can know the secret of the disappearance of the Xiao family, Xiao Yang said slowly in his heart. Because when he was in the Doqi continent, it was the bloodline of the Emperor Xiao Xian that collapsed in his body. The ancestor Xiao Xian did not hesitate to fight the power of the whole family to break through the Emperor Do and activate the blood of the Emperor Do, so Xiao Yang felt that the ancestor Xiao Xian should. What do you know? It's true that one person can't defeat the 5-element beast, but you forgot that we are 5 people. The next moment, Xiao Yang slowly spoke to the angry Ling Xian. But among the 5 of us, we clearly have only one of these attributes. You and Mu Yingying belong to the same fire. Without the 5 elements, these 5 elements beasts can't be dealt with at all, Ling Xian said. Hey, have you forgotten that I am a pharmacist? There is wood in the fire. Xiao Yang seemed to have expected this Ling Xian to come out, and said slowly. Since that's the case. Seeing that the 4 of them insisted on going, Ling Xian had no choice but to agree. Although Ling Xian didn't know the power of these 5-element beasts, there was no doubt that in her father's mouth, these 5-element beasts were fierce beasts comparable to the 7-star fighting emperor of human. Okay, take a good rest, we will leave tomorrow. Xiao Yang put away the red scroll directly. It's just that Xiao Yang was a little surprised. The words in the red scroll only took up 1/3 of the place. As for the rest, are there other tasks? It's just that Xiao Yang now has no time to think about this. I'll go back first. I'll come here tomorrow to gather together. The deputy hall masters and the others will organize us to go there. When Ling Xian left, she did not forget to tell Xiao Yang and the others. Brother, your mission this time doesn't seem to be that simple. Following Ling Xian's departure, Xiao Yi walked out of the room slowly and said, 5-element beasts are really difficult to deal with. It seems that I have to study the wood attribute of fire with wood. It is still the power of holy flame. Xiao Yang smiled bitterly. Let's go back first. Xiao Yang said to the 4 next to him. After speaking, the 4 of them went back one after another. As for other places, the registration for the team competition is still in full swing. Hee, how confident are you about the tasks you are responsible for this time? In the conference room with the highest specification in the Funxiang Pavilion, dozens of figures slowly appeared. It was the young and old who spoke, like the deputy hall master of the hall today. Qing Laro sat on the first place and looked at the dozens of old people around him and said, in front of these old men are Xiong Yuan, the deputy head of the Earth Palace, and Mu Shuzi, the deputy head of the Human Palace. As for the old people behind the 2, they were some elders from the Hall of People and the Hall of Earth. These elders were very senior, and they might be the most elite forces in the Burning Incense Pavilion. Qing Laro, the place I went to this time is Luoling Mountain. Although this Luoling Mountain is a relic site that the pavilion master accidentally discovered, the Luoling Mountain is extremely dangerous, so even the old guys like us can't guarantee how much confidence. But there is one thing you can rest assured, Boss Qing. With us here, We will never put the disciples in any danger. An old man with a pale face in the underground hall said. Although it is said that Luoling Mountain is mostly dangerous, I have to say that Luoling Mountain is a good place for training. And this time to change the previous team competition. Firstly, the sect competition is imminent. Our Fenxiang Pavilion has been silent for so long, it is time to show it, shocking those younger generations. And secondly, it is also to better temper these disciples. The old man spoke slowly. Haha, since that's the case, I have to say that Luoling Mountain is a good place. Many elders laughed when they heard this. Mu Shuzi, tomorrow you will be responsible for leading many disciples to enter. We will arrange some things in Luoling Mountain today. Seeing that none of you spoke, Qing Lao immediately ordered. Okay. Mu Shuzi naturally agreed happily upon hearing this. So be it. This time the Shueziyi Zongmen team competition is actually an award competition. How many of these disciples can stand out, then they will represent our Fenxiang Pavilion in the Zongmen competition. Qing Lao said. It's all right, let's go down and make preparations first, and we'll gather and set off in a quarter of an hour. The next moment, Xiong Yuan sighed when he saw the young man leaning on the old man and selling the old man. He couldn't help saying. Seeing that he lost his temper, Qing Lao coughed a few times, and then everyone slowly dispersed. As the crowd dispersed, the Fenxiang Pavilion became quiet, because everyone knew that tomorrow would be the day to enter the trial grounds to carry out the mission, so today they are cultivating well. Wow. In the dark space, there are boundless tombstones, and there is a strong aura of death on the death tombstones, making strangers stay away. Many tombstones are arranged without any sense of incongruity, but from bottom to top, at the top of the cemetery, a figure dressed in tatters, slowly staring into the distance. As for the figure behind, there is a strange illusory figure. What's the matter? As the dark crow flew by, the figure at the top of the cemetery spoke slowly. Following the figure's opening, the tombstones in the cemetery let out a burst of grief, extremely desolate. Protecting Lord Guizian, according to the news that my subordinates have received, Xian Sansan has been extremely uneasy recently. The Xianling royal family tried to encircle the Medusa clan, but unexpectedly, the Medusa clan suddenly emerged from the immortal fighting powerhouse and directly forced them back. The Xianling royal family has long ago. The crows all over the sky suddenly flashed many strange feathers, and then a man surrounded by black energy knelt down on one knee and slowly opened his mouth to the figure above the cemetery. The Medusa family actually has a strong fighting immortal. The figure was shocked when he heard the words, and his voice was full of inconceivable. This Medusa clan is a clan that is envied by the sky. It is reasonable to say that it is impossible for a strong fighting immortal to appear in the city. Dark Crow, go on. The figure slowly stood up and said to the figure transformed by the crow in front of him. Then Solomon was about to move, and some of the strong men in Solomon seemed to be planning something. The figure called the Dark Crow opened his mouth. He, Solomon's people have a lot of appetite. We promised them that our ghost world ruled Shen Santianhui to give them a place. I'm afraid they have discovered some secrets. But it doesn't matter, I believe those guys in the Soul Palace will help us solve it. The man said slowly, but the illusory figure behind him exuded a permeating feeling. Is there anything else? The man eased his body. Right now, the Fenxiang Pavilion is undergoing a sect competition. As for the test site, it is in Luoling Mountain. Dark Raven spoke slowly, because Dark Raven clearly remembered that the grievance between his master and Fenxiang Pavilion seemed to be quite huge. Burning Incense Pavilion. The next moment, a spooky ghostly aura permeated the man's body instantly, and then the surrounding cemetery suddenly erupted with a coercion that the Dark Crow couldn't resist. Send my order to let the men who have been infiltrated into Shen Santian go to Luoling Mountain and kill the disciples of Fenxiang Pavilion. In addition, tell them that there is a human named Xiao Yang in the Fenxiang Pavilion, and he will kill this person at all costs, because this person has a twin ghost emperor heart. This thing must be taken back. The man drank suddenly. But Lord Guizian, Miss Bloodrose said that now is not the time to start, so it would be a bit of a shock to the snake. Dark Crow said worriedly. Go away. The next moment, the man who seemed to be out of control suddenly drank it, and the Dark Crow was immediately shaken by its huge impact for dozens of meters. What kind of deep hatred does this grave digger, Guizian, and Burning Incense Pavilion have? It has to be like this. Dark Crow complained and then disappeared, apparently doing what Guizian ordered. Fenxiang Pavilion, what you owe me, sooner or later, I will let you all pay it back. Above that cemetery, the grave digger ghost immortal gave bursts of hideous smiles, and it didn't go away for a long time. After a night of silence, when the first rays of sunlight scattered in the morning, the incense pavilion suddenly became lively. Hey, have you heard that this time the team competition is different from the previous one? Have you seen your mission? What is your mission? Many whispers continued to sound on the huge square below Burning Heaven territory. The next moment, looking at the crowd of people on the square, Mu Shu's figure slowly appeared. It looks like this mission is about to begin. Xiao Yang and the others also came here early. It happened that the little witch Lingxian was very punctual today. Quiet, I will guide you through the space teleportation array to the place of this trial. Remember the 4 words of team and safety. Mu Zuzia didn't say more, said a few words slowly, and then waved his pale palm, and suddenly, a huge white light suddenly appeared in the sky where Fen Tianyu was fooled. Door. It's really a huge handwriting. Xiao Yang couldn't help but say something. Obviously, Xiao Yang's eyesight naturally discovered this huge space teleportation formation. This huge formation, Xiao Yang only needs to know at a glance that it is from Zhu Lao. Hand. Such a magnificent handwriting, I am afraid that only Zhu Lao can construct it. The first pair of Red Knight Malevel teams will come first. Mu Shu's oppressive voice echoed throughout the square, and then many disciples quieted down, because they all knew that the team competition was really starting at this time. The next moment, Mu Shu's voice just fell, and suddenly 5 figures suddenly appeared, then crossed the sky and jumped directly in front of Mu Shuzi. Of the 5 people, only 4 were wearing capes and buckets on their heads, which covered Zhu's appearance, but even so, Ling Xian, who was side by side with Xiao Yang, still said, "It's actually senior brother Wang Chen." The strength of these people is very strong. The next moment, Mu Feng slowly spoke to the people in the sky, with a rare solemnity in his voice. Today's Mu Feng, although his strength is only in the late stage of the 5-star Do Emperor, but with the mysterious exercises in his body, I am afraid that he has the power to fight with the real 5-star Do Emperor perfection powerhouse, but only when facing the 5 people above the sky. A sense of powerlessness spread all over the body. Don't worry. Xiao Yang felt Mu Feng's abnormality, and immediately helped him slowly with big hands, and a gentle force came out. Lingxian, do you know who these people are? After Xiao Yang finished all this, he turned his head and said to Lingxian. Since this time, there are only disciples from the Earth Palace and the Human Palace. These people are so powerful, I am afraid they will only be the talented disciples in the Earth Palace. If there is no accident, these people should be the most powerful people in our hall. 2nd senior brother, 3rd senior brother, 4th senior brother and 5th senior brother who fought with you before. But I have to remind you that you are the weakest among the 5 senior brothers who fought with you before. Ling Xian hesitated for a while, but said. Originally, with Ling Xuan's character, she would definitely not do these things, but since she joined Xiao Yang and the others in the Hall of People, she had heard some bad words when she returned to the hall last night. Therefore, with the character of this little witch, she naturally wants to break out into the world to open the eyes of the people in these temples. Then there's another person. Xiao Yang had no doubts about Ling Xuan's words, because except for Wang Chen who didn't cover his face, the auras of the other 4 were much stronger than Wang Chen, and there was even one person. The aura of faintly made Xiao Yang feel an unpredictable feeling. This is a very rare thing. After all, the current Xiao Yang, whether it is soul power or spiritual power, has skyrocketed a lot than before. This situation only shows that the strength of that person is too strong. Palace Master Wood, we can go now. Wang Chen said. Let's go, I hope you have good luck this time. Mu Shuzi said slowly, and then his palms changed rapidly, a strange energy suddenly emerged, and then Wang Chen and the 5 suddenly leaped into the space teleportation formation among. Boom boom boom. At the next moment, Mu Shu's palm changed rapidly and fell instantly, and then the space teleportation formation suddenly burst into a bright light, and then the 5 Wang Chen disappeared instantly. The next team. After doing all this, Mu Shuzi opened his mouth. Where did those people go just now? Some of the first people in the square couldn't help but exit, obviously puzzled. Don't worry, everyone, this space teleportation formation was set up by our Funxiang Pavilion alone to receive our disciples for trials. As long as you go there, someone will naturally pick you up. Mu Shuzi saw that there was some confusion in the field. Immediately he opened his mouth slightly. I see. After seeing this, many disciples felt relieved. This time, a total of 10 teams of Red Knight level characters were selected, and now the next team. Xiao Yang, it's up to you. Seeing that everyone calmed down, Mu Shuzi opened his mouth. 10 pairs. Xiao Yang smiled, but he was not at all surprised by the number of these 10 pairs. After all, this is the Burning Incense Pavilion, a place where many geniuses are born, so it is not surprising. Let's go. Xiao Yan glanced at the few people around him, and then spoke slowly. When the four of them saw this, they jumped suddenly and came to Mu Shuzi's side in an instant. Vice Palace Master. Several people said politely, "Enter from here and relax. The space teleportation formation will not cause any burden on you, but if you insist on resisting, there will be some dangers." Mu Shuzi said kindly. Mu Shuzi was quite satisfied with Xiao Yang and the others, not only its strength, its heart. After all, as Mu Shuzi, but for many years, I haven't seen Zhu Lao, who has always been high-handed and low-handed, praise others. Yes. Xiao Yang nodded slightly, and couldn't help but glance down, only to see the crowd of ants waiting for the participating teams, and immediately gave a wry smile. Also, remember to keep the wooden. As for the task on the red scroll, there is not only one. The handprints are changing. Boom boom boom. Xiao Yang was stunned for a moment. Just as he was about to ask what was going on, the light of the teleportation formation around his body instantly flashed. What does Mu Shuzi's last words mean? Xiao Yang thought blankly. The light around the 5 people was shining brightly, a burst of dazzling white light, mixed with indescribable terrifying power, constantly surrounded Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang only felt that his body and even his soul were moving. Don't make useless struggles. This space teleportation formation should be made by the old Zhu, you said. If it is too strong, don't waste your time, otherwise it will damage your spiritual strength. Just as Xiao Yang was preparing when investigating the secret of the power of the space teleportation formation, Xinyan suddenly spoke. Okay. Xiao Yang said helplessly, but Xiao Yang discovered the situation of the 4 around him. Green Flute and Mu Feng are fine, but something keeps appearing on Lingshuan's body. Obviously, there is some precious treasure on her body. As for Mu Yingying, her eyes are slightly closed, but the blue flames around her body are involuntarily. The appearance is obviously to protect the Lord. Forget it, it should be here. Xiao Yang didn't bother to pay attention to this, and after a few breaths passed, his eyes lit up. He slowly opened his eyes, and found that this place was very different from the previous place. This video will end here.